It feels like the perfect night for Swiftcast, the Taylor Swift podcast by the fans for the fans. Hey guys, welcome to this bonus episode of Swiftcast. This is Ashley.
Haley.
And Steph.
And joining us today, we have some very special guests. You might remember that I did an appearance on their podcast a few weeks ago. So we have Tim and Carson from the I Heard That Was Good podcast.
Hey.
Hello.
Thanks for having us on. We're we're big fans of your podcast now ever since we were on that, Thanksgiving episode of our hosting services podcast, and we loved it when Ashley was on, and we're glad that we can be a part of your podcast now.
We're happy to have you.
Yes, we are. We're very excited.
I think we can all agree that right now, and in anywhere we are, it's cold, right?
Very cold.
Like, it's cold. Like, Denver's cold, Pittsburgh, everywhere, Chicago, everywhere else, Jackson, Mississippi, it's cold right now.
Surprisingly, it is in Jackson.
Today was the first day that people were actually, encouraged to go back to work and leave the house.
Yeah, I saw some of those photos online, and I would not have even moved from my bed.
Well, look, you guys at least, are used to the cold. Here in Jackson, where we are, if it gets, 15 degrees, which it did this morning, people are freaking out. They're like, I don't know if I can drive in this. Well, there's no ice.
Yeah.
How can you not drive when it's 15 degrees?
Completely dry.
It was -11 when I took my daughter to school on Monday.
Ugh.
It was freezing.
No way.
So we thought this was the perfect opportunity to have Tim and Carson join us. Their podcast, as I mentioned, talks all about TV, movies, pop culture, things like that. And with this being the Golden Globes week, we thought that we could all talk about just some of our favorite appearances that Taylor's had in TV and movies in the past, and all the exciting things she has coming up for the future, and hopefully some exciting Golden Globes news to report.
Well, I hope you guys don't hate me, but I really haven't seen anything she's been in. I've seen YouTube clips, but that's about it. That's me, Carson. I'm sorry about that. Tim's seen everything, though.
I haven't seen everything, but I do have a couple favorite, Taylor Swift moments from the screen and soundtracks and stuff like that I can go over right here if you guys want me to.
Do you have an absolute favorite out of all of Taylor's things that you've seen?
I wrote down best thing she's ever done. That is literally a heading that I have on my notes right here. And it's her New Girl cameo. I already like the show New Girl. Her cameo on that show was absolutely perfect. I knew she was going to be on the show, and it was still completely surprising. I felt like it was kind of self-deprecating in a way that I'd never seen her be before. It was sort of making fun of the character that the media has sort of created that's not really Taylor Swift, but, the serial dater and things like that. And I laughed out loud so hard. It was just such a shock and a surprise, and it was so funny. That, I think, is the best thing she's ever done on screen. It wasn't long. It was perfect. I thought it was hilarious.
I think that she did that role at the perfect time. She had been getting so much, not negative attention, but just so many people poking fun at her for who she dates, which has always happened, but I feel like it had gotten especially bad at that time. And, of course, it wasn't a surprise that she was on it. They teased that she was going to be on it, and nobody knew exactly what her character was going to do. And then for them to write her into the show the way that she did, I remember somebody on Twitter, a tweet that I read when the show aired, said, "Nobody makes fun of Taylor Swift like Taylor Swift."
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It was self-deprecating in a way that I wasn't familiar with her being. And so, it referenced her being Taylor Swift with still being this new character that was, I don't know, just completely, it seemed completely rounded, even though she only had one or two lines. I thought it was great.
I think that's a great choice because I love Taylor, of course, but I also love New Girl, so I was really excited about it, and I thought she delivered it so well.
The one thing I have to say, though, is that the way they were building up before that episode aired, they made it seem like she was going to be the star of the episode. And then she only ended up having about 30 seconds. So I was a little disappointed that her character, who was so brilliant, didn't get more time.
Yeah, maybe they'll bring her back, though. That's totally possible. I mean, all those characters like Cece and her, the person she was supposed to be marrying in that episode, and all of this, could be brought back around. There's,
I mean, they brought back a character that was in the pilot that they got rid of, and now he's back. So it wouldn't surprise me if they did bring her back.
And she'll have some time now that the tour's over and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The other thing I wrote down that is another one of my favorite things she's ever done is when she was on Saturday Night Live, she did this sketch making fun of Twilight called Firelight.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That was great.
instead of, you have to watch it if you haven't seen it, but instead of vampires, it's Frankenstein monsters, and they're like in high school still, and she's doing like a pitch perfect Bella Swan, biting her lip and all that. I almost forget that it was her in that sketch because she just sort of disappears into this caricature of what's her face does in that movie. Who's Bella Swan? Why am I blanking
Kristen
on
Stewart?
this? Kristen Stewart, yeah. You know, the lip biting and everything like that, and it's so funny. And Bill Hader pulls off the hilarious, like, angsty teenage Frankenstein's monster. That's another one of my favorite things she's ever done on screen.
And that was so funny at the time too, because it was rumored everywhere that she was dating Taylor Lautner, and then she just comes out with this ridiculous Twilight parody.
Yeah, perfect.
Look, I like Taylor. I think Taylor is like a class act in herself. She does so much for fans every single year. She can make fun of herself. She can have fun, poke fun at herself. And so, you know what? When Murphy was telling me, he was like, we're going to be on Swiftcast, I was like, I don't know what to talk about. But then I'm like, you know what? Taylor's a good person. So no matter what you say about her, she's always a good person. And that's just my saying.
Yeah, not to get off topic, but I mean, Swiftcast makes you want to talk about Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't Taylor Swift
Thank
fans
you.
before. Listen, but I mean, you guys, I'm thinking about Taylor Swift now so often. Like, I have.
It's creepy.
Yeah, it is. It's weird for me. I'm like, I'm thinking of stuff. I I wonder what the Swiftcast people would think about this. Like, I'm going to tweet them this question, and maybe they'll talk about it on Swiftcast. And I'm like, this is so out of character for me. But you guys make me want to, because I like the way you guys fantasize about her, not in a weird way or a creepy way, but you're like, at the end of the show, you're like, what's Taylor going to do next week? Or what do you think Taylor's going to do for her birthday? Or what do you think? And it's not creepy or weird in a way that, you're writing like weird erotic fan fiction about her or something, but it's in a way that's like, I feel like she's my friend, so I can talk about what she's gonna do. And I've only listened to like a handful of episodes, but I already feel the same way. I'm like, it's just weird.
Well, and to your listeners of Swiftcast, if you guys don't know us, we're radio hosts in Jackson, Mississippi. That's what we do. So now every time Taylor Swift comes on our radio station here, I'm like, Swiftcast, Swiftcast, Swiftcast.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's our master plan. Our plan is working.
No offense, I haven't said it on air yet, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I wonder what they would do if this song was on in their town right now.
Yeah. So sorry to get up on that tangent, but.
And then I found out you guys don't listen to Top 40 radio, so there you go.
No, I said I used to listen to it more when I drove.
I'm just kidding.
Do you mean just when a random Taylor song comes on the radio?
I think if you guys, when a random Taylor song comes on, I'm just like, Swiftcast.
For me, anytime a random song comes on, I freak out just because it's Taylor on the radio. I get really excited. It's so different.
Yeah, it really never wears off.
So do you get like the typical teen girl thing, like, oh, Taylor! Like that?
I just get really excited, and it makes my day. It's so different when you can just listen to a CD, but then when it comes on the radio, because people are requesting it and people want to hear it, it's just so exciting.
Especially when it's a song that they don't play all the time. Like right now, country radio plays Red, pretty frequently. But then a few weeks ago, I was in the car and You Belong With Me came on, and I completely flipped out because they never play that song.
Yeah.
There's a reason we do all this, but that's a whole nother podcast.
It's like when we talk about this sometimes where, I get stuff on DVD and I never watch it. And then but I'll watch it when it's on TV, like, I don't know if I've ever watched my Star Wars DVDs, but it's one of my favorite movies. And whenever it's on Spike, I'll watch that all the time. It's kind of like those movies that you can watch over and over again. It's like, yeah, I've heard this Taylor song a million times. I can't wait till 1,000,001. I can't wait till the next time I hear it,
My thing, I always get excited is when I flip channels, like when one of my radio stations goes to a commercial break, and I switch to the next one, and it's playing Taylor. I'm like, I knew it.
You have the connection.
It's like we synced up right then and there.
Yeah, it's a sixth sense.
A song that's played too much on the radio, I'm like, ugh. And I switch to the next one, I'm like, yes!
It's your Swift sense.
It is.
But you know what's funny? It's funny when we talk to listeners like that and they go, I'm so sick of this song. But then you put on your iPod and you listen to that same song over and over again. So it's funny that we play the same thing over and over again, but then you all do the same thing, or you guys do the same thing, depending on what region you're in. and that's the funny thing to me. It always cracks me up. People are like, you play Taylor Swift way too much. And I'm like, okay, what's on your iPod? Taylor Swift.
I think that's what we would classify here on Swiftcast as a Swiftie problem.
Swiftie problems.
I'm going to come up with a bunch of different Swiftie things now.
I'm telling you, you're going to, because the more you listen to this, the more you're going to start thinking about Taylor Swift. It's the weirdest thing. I only have one. I have a couple more things written down here that are some of my favorite appearance. Well, I don't know about these. Don't qualify as appearances, but I do like from the Hunger Games soundtrack. She's had a couple of songs on soundtracks, and her song with the Civil Wars on the first Hunger Games soundtrack, "Safe and Sound," is pretty incredible. I mean, that is a pretty good song, and it's a great addition to like an already great movie soundtrack that had like Arcade Fire, The Decemberists, Nico Case, Glenn Hansard, and the Taylor Swift song on there. I think is great. Do you guys like Safe and Sound?
Oh yeah, definitely. And Eyes Open, the other song that she had on that soundtrack.
Right, I forgot about that. That one we did play for a little bit. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Is there a Taylor song that you don't prefer?
Well, I was gonna say I prefer Eyes Open over Safe and Sound. I think Eyes Open is underrated, and I was really upset that Taylor didn't have another song on the latest Hunger Games soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
See, I would say one of my favorite right now is Everything Has Changed. That's still one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs right now. I don't know why, but it is.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Are you playing the remix on your station right now?
No, we tend to play the originals. I don't like when stuff has dance beats behind it. And
I didn't know they released a remix of that. Is that what it is?
No, I don't think so. But
Not a dance remix. It's just sort of like a remastered version of the song.
I see.
We may be. There's like 4 different versions that like came out, and one of them was a dancey one. I'm like, no.
This one just has Ed's part in it a little bit longer. He sings more of it than what Taylor does.
Oh, we might be. I don't know if we're playing that. So that's all. Those are the big things that I wrote down about some of my favorite Taylor Swift appearances. That's all I've written down.
Did either of you guys have a Taylor song that you don't prefer?
The Tim McGraw one. I'm just not. Maybe because of the same thing, like you said, it just got played so much that that's just the one that I never got.
Are you talking about Highway Don't Care?
No. Tim McGraw.
Oh,
no, Highway Don't Care. I love that song.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I love the other one. What about you guys?
Yeah, so you're asking if we have a song we don't prefer. Wow.
For me, it changes depending on what I'm going through. Like, I used to not like Sad, Beautiful, Tragic until I went through a similar thing. And then I'm just like, oh my God, this song is amazing. It made me actually appreciate the song.
So probably like your least favorite probably changes a lot too.
I think so.
And I think that's what Taylor's good at doing, and I think that's why she hits so many different types of people. Like, you were telling us before we started recording that that there's a girl that's a Swiftie over 50. And that's... Yeah, I think Taylor has a way of like nailing everybody's emotions into a song, and the song may point at a different emotion, but it always comes back to a certain emotion, and you've all felt that emotion.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, people of all ages, guys, whoever, like, even if you're not the exact character who exactly perfectly lines up with everything she describes in the song, the general emotion of the song is so universal that's why it appeals to so many people.
Well, I'm gonna marry her, so there you go. I'm serious.
That resolution just changed. Carson's resolution to meet Taylor Swift this year just changed big time.
Like, I do want to meet her because I think what she does for her fans is an amazing thing. And anybody that's that nice to their fans when they've made it to that stardom, because a lot of people you see get real big like that they just forget about their fans. And she has yet to do that. So, bravo, Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're going to get married.
Weird. What are some of what are your favorite Taylor screen moments?
Well, back to SNL, one of my favorite things Taylor has ever done in her whole career is the monologue song that she performed on SNL.
That was great.
Mm-hmm. I do remember that.
I have that like as an actual song that I listen to on my iPod. That's how much I love it.
The only thing I really remember from that is when she said something about I'm doing just fine or something like that, and she waved hi Joe or something like that. Am I remembering that correctly? Yeah.
Yes. Basically, she just listed every single thing that people made fun of and made it really, really funny.
Yeah. But I won't talk about that now in my monologue song.
Right. And SNL usually writes the monologue for each guest, but Taylor just wanted to do it on her own, and I thought that was so awesome.
Yeah, you can always tell when the host has written their own monologue on that show, which I always really appreciate, because they don't have to let them do that. You know what I mean?
Well, I really liked when Taylor was a voice for Audrey in The Lorax. When I was a kid, I read The Lorax, and I always really liked it. And then I found out they were making a movie of it, and Taylor was going to be a voice. So I actually went to see it in the theater several times.
Whoa.
Because I was so excited, and I was surrounded by all these little kids. I just wanted to hear Taylor, and I thought she did a great job. And I liked the way the movie was done, too.
So how many times did you see it?
I think 3.
She seems like she'd be well suited to animation because she's like very young and energetic and a good voice, I think, for voice work like that.
I almost didn't even recognize her when she was actually in there. I'm like, really? That's Taylor's voice? What?
I'm going to watch it again just to double check.
Yeah.
Like, she changed her mannerisms up a little bit. But some of it, you're just like, yep, that's Taylor.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's one thing that I read about. Like, I'd never seen Valentine's Day, but that was her first big major on-screen role. I think a lot of people expected her to, like, take off after that and as far as acting goes. But a lot of the reviews that I remember reading about that was that it wasn't particularly well directed, and it was such an ensemble cast that she didn't really get a chance to, really spread her wings. And they were like, under someone who can like really direct her in a way, I think that she's going to thrive as an actress because she has such a nice energy and a youthful energy about her.
I forgot I saw that movie. Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Yeah,
so.
There were so many big names and so many different plots that, I think her character just got lost.
Easy to get lost.
Yeah, and her character was just a teenage girl in high school who was supposed to act ditzy. Like, they didn't give her a challenging part either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no time for anybody to round out their character in that movie.
Because that's where her and Taylor Lautner met, right?
Yes.
I know something.
I mean, yeah, I really enjoyed that movie, and I was really excited to see Taylor. Again, kind of like New Girl, it built her up so much. She's going to be in this, she's going to be in this. And then I was like, oh, she barely got any screen time.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I had to go the opening weekend, and I was just kind of disappointed. But I still thought she did a great job.
I'm very, very excited to see The Giver when it comes out. I believe, did we get a release date? August or something?
14th.
I think it was August. Oh, right, because I was talking about how Taylor is so sweet to release it right around my birthday. She's nice like that.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. This sounds like the kind of movie that she can really, flourish in because people like Meryl Streep and Jeff Bridges that are in this movie, I mean, it can't not be incredible with those two names in it. And then you had someone like Taylor who's sort of, still new to acting. I think she's really going to be brought up to that level that they're at. Those seem like actors that work well with anybody.
And Katie Holmes is in it too. So I mean, there's a great cast for that. So she either will do really good or barely get any screen time again.
And that's the other thing that you worry about. You're like, wow, how am I going to even share the screen with Meryl Streep? Can you imagine the challenge and just the daunting task that's in front of you? Like, wow, I have to act in a scene with only Meryl Streep, 3-time Oscar winner Meryl Streep. That's all.
Well, I know that when she first announced that she was going to do the movie, she said that the reason why she chose it was because A, because of the cast, and B, because it was a small enough role that she had time to do it, but still a big enough movie for her to feel like it was the right next step for her acting career. So even if her part doesn't end up being big, because who knows what it'll get edited down to, the movie itself, I think just being based on the book and with the cast and all the buzz it's getting is going to be so big that I think it'll open a lot of doors for her for any acting she wants to do.
Hey, if Murphy knows anything about being edited out, he is definitely the person. Murphy spent all day on the set for The Help, the movie, and he was edited out.
Aww.
So
Yeah.
Well, his hands are in the movie.
My hands are in and if you look at the scene where they're eating oysters in a restaurant here in Jackson where they filmed the movie, you can see some hands moving in the background. That's me. There I am. The cutting room
We'll go
floor.
watch it.
Yeah, check it out. What do you guys know about the Secret Service? Because when I was looking up, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything as far as her credits go. I saw that she's rumored to be in this movie called The Secret Service with Samuel L. Jackson and Colin Firth. It's directed by Matthew Vaughn, who I think is a great director. He did X-Men First Class and other things like that. Do you guys know anything about this movie?
I don't think there's been any confirmation on that. That rumor was going around at the same time as The Giver, and then she confirmed The Giver, so we just figured that was the only one she was doing. But who knows? She likes to surprise us.
Lots of other musicians like Lady Gaga and Adele, they have credits that are also rumored to be in this movie. So it makes me think there's maybe like a concert scene or something like that where maybe some action takes place and some people are on stage or maybe an awards show or something like that. But when you go on IMDb, it still says rumored next to most people's names. But that should be in a good movie anyway. It was written by Jane Goldman, who also did X-Men First Class and The Debt and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, because I mean, Elton John's rumored to be in it. David Beckham. Yeah.
yeah,
so-
like a lot of there must be like a party scene or a concert scene or something like that. If it's even true that these people are in it.
There is a movie that for months and months and months people are saying Taylor's gonna do it, Taylor's gonna do it, and I believe the name of it was Girls Like Us. It's a movie about, are they still even making that movie? I don't really know what's going on with it now.
I think it's on hold. Somebody asked Taylor about it like a couple months ago, and she said she couldn't confirm anything about it.
It just says it's in development, according to IMDb. So
Yeah, all I knew about it was that it was supposed to be sort of the autobiography of Joni Mitchell.
Okay, this is sounding kind of familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was also supposed to include. Was it supposed to include other singers like Carly Simon and Joni Mitchell? And Taylor was supposed to play Joni.
Yeah, and so there was a lot of rumors going around. Carly Simon was a guest on the Red Tour, and Taylor had a secret message on one of the songs on Red that was rumored to have to do with Joni Mitchell. So people seemed pretty confident she was going to do the movie, but we'll just have to see if it ever happens. I think it would be really cool. I think that would be like the breakout role for her.
well, I'm more excited to see her role than Nicki Minaj in her upcoming movie with what is she in? It's her and a bunch of other people.
Oh, I haven't even heard of this.
Yeah, it's horrible. So
Oh, God,
yeah,
it
it's supposed to be
sounds
out
awful.
this year.
I didn't even know she was doing a movie.
No.
Cameron Diaz is in it. Yeah.
Oh gosh, count me out of all of this. Jeez.
And then in other upcoming news, the movie that Taylor wrote the song for, Sweeter Than Fiction, for the movie One Chance, that movie is supposed to be coming out in the US anytime now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that does since it's about the British Got Talent. It wasn't he on Britain's Got Talent?
Yeah.
Wasn't he that guy?
Yeah.
Or was he? Did he win
Yeah.
it? Okay. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that does. The song is great though. I mean, I love the sound of it. I love how it's kind of like new wavy. I don't know. It reminds me a little of Aha. You know, it reminds me a little bit of the OMD song "If You Leave." I hear a little, some notes that it's not a ripoff, but it just reminds me of that song Breakfast Club kind of sound. I may be getting out of the age demo now,
Yeah.
like
Breakfast
with
Club.
all those with all those references to OMD and Aha and the Breakfast Club. But anyway, I dig that sound for her, and I think it suits her. It's a good song. It's got some it's got some heavy competition for the Golden Globes, but I think it's got as good a shot as any because there hasn't been really been a standout. Disney's always a favorite there in this Inside Llewyn Davis movie. But she's a dark horse for that category. I think she could swoop in.
Well, look, the Swiftie over 50 will understand everything we were just talking about right there, right?
I know that we're all really, really nervous because I think it's January 16th that the Oscar nominations are coming out, and Sweeter Than Fiction was on the list of songs that could possibly getting nominated. So
I don't think the list is going to look too different from what you see at the Golden Globes. I mean, you got Frozen, you got Inside Llewyn Davis. They might get another nomination because it's such a musical-heavy movie. But the Hunger Games song from Coldplay, the Mandela song from U2, and her song. I mean, that seems like a pretty solid 5-pack. And there's no rule that even says that there has to be X amount of songs in the category. If you remember a couple years ago, I think there was 2 or 3 songs nominated in the song category, or maybe only 2. There was one from the Muppet movie and one from Rio, and I think that was it. So there's no rule that says they have to have X amount of songs in any category. So. But that's a pretty good shoe-in, I would say.
well, there was no rule that anybody had to ever win the Pinnacle Award. They decided to give that to Taylor.
Yeah, so take that, Murphy. There you go. All right. Jeez.
I don't know if you guys saw the CMA Awards this past year, but that was what I was talking about.
I did. Yeah, I saw it.
I did remember. Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
So they know, I mean, the Pinnacle Award, they don't have to ever give it to anybody. The last person they gave it to was it Garth Brooks?
Yeah, it was Garth Brooks 7 years ago.
I did see that because there was that long intro to that award of like people like Justin Timberlake saying congratulations and things like that. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
I would have been
that was
okay
it.
with if I was her not getting that award because it's like, man, I've reached the pinnacle at 23. That means it's all downhill from here. Is that what you guys are saying? Right? Like, how daunting is that? Like, oh, great. Well, thanks for the Pinnacle Award. What am I supposed to do now?
Now she's going to go Chris Gaines herself.
Yeah, now I've got to create a crazy Chris Gaines character.
If you guys even know what we're talking about right
oh, yeah.
there.
I don't know who that is. I'm sorry.
I don't either.
Google it.
Google it. It's a okay, long story short, Garth Brooks wanted to do a rock CD, so he changed his name. Yeah. Now he changed his name to Chris Gaines.
Yeah, everyone's tried to forget Chris Gaines.
But I haven't.
Did that happen in the 90s?
Probably, right? Early 90s?
Yeah, late 90s, because I
Late
remember
90s?
walking around the mall, and it was like Garth Brooks is now, and then the picture changed, Chris Gaines. So I remember that. That would be funny if Taylor tried to do that. She tried to become like a heavy metal artist or a rapper.
Oh, my
There
God.
you
Well,
go.
we know she loves rapping,
she
and she's
loves
good
it,
at it,
yeah.
yeah.
She like Taylor Swift is now Little T. Or,
She's T Swizzle.
T-Swizzle.
yeah, and then she puts out a whole rap CD, see?
I would listen to that.
And then she can be her own opening act at her concerts.
That would be awesome.
That
you
would be
said
incredible.
you said that some of her management's listening. These are ideas right here, Taylor, all right?
And you owe us $1 billion if you use them.
Yes.
Okay?
Write the check to Tim and Carson in Jackson.
As much as like people like to joke about, she's at the pinnacle, it's all downhill from here. I think that actually is her biggest sort of fear and insecurity that she deals with herself is, can this album, can this tour really top the last one? Are people still interested? Like she said a few times, like when I get to the point where I can tell that nobody's really that into what I'm doing anymore, I'm just gonna bow out. Like I'm not gonna keep making music just for the sake of, forcing it down people's throats, basically.
Honestly, I'm surprised that she's even coming out with an album this year because Red was so huge, and you guys were talking about it on your last episode of the year, that it was just such a big era for her and almost a game changer in her career that I wouldn't have been surprised if she pulled a Timberlake and like disappeared from music for like 10 years and did other stuff.
Oh, don't say that. That's our biggest
I know.
fear.
I was really worried about that after Red was so huge. I was really worried that we weren't going to have a new album from her for years.
Yeah, but luckily we're getting one this year. What I think she's going to do is give us some more of what Red sounded like, and then I think after that, she's going to like draw way back. And I think she should work. I don't know if she's ever worked with him before. I think she should get Rick Rubin to produce her, maybe not her next album, but the one after that. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He produced a lot of Eminem's last CD, but what he's really known for is like those Johnny Cash CDs when he was like nearing the end of his life, and they were just like stripped down and raw, and you could just hear the emotion. I would love to hear her just like really go, because she already uses a lot of emotion in her songs, but just really go for broke.
Yeah, he
And
did Hurt with Johnny Cash.
He did that
and
song
that's
Hurt. Yeah,
one of my favorite Johnny Cash songs ever.
just strip it way back down, and I think that would be really
Her
awesome.
and a guitar, because Johnny Cash was just him and a piano, wasn't it? In that song, there was a couple guitars.
There were some swells of
Yeah.
but mostly it's all just very bare bones production. I think that would be really awesome.
That is probably that's probably our dream come true.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny that you mentioned this because there was just an article today. Taylor was interviewed with a UK magazine, and they asked her if she would ever just do a show with her and her guitar, and she said she would never say never. And it just gave me a little bit of hope that someday that will happen.
That sounds like that movie Pure Country with George Strait, wasn't it him? Yeah, where he played this character called Dusty, and he got to be such a big artist that he stood up there in one of his shows because there was lights and fireworks and all this kind of stuff, and he stood up there and missed a whole part of the song on purpose, and not a single person in the crowd even noticed. And so he finally went away for a while. He came back and he was like, "All right, here's the deal. I'm just gonna get up on stage with my guitar and do a show that way."
It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
There you go.
Somebody else knew what I was talking about.
He basically ran away from his own tour.
Yeah, exactly. And they put in an imposter, so we're gonna have a Taylor imposter there for a while.
There you go.
Yeah.
That reminds me of what almost just happened in Australia.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
What happened?
The power went out.
The power went
Right,
out
I
in the
remember I heard you guys
stadium,
talk about that.
and they weren't sure if they were going to be able to get it back. It was taking a while, so she came out and was talking to the crowd and was just like, "Hey, so if this is happening, if they can't fix it, I'm just going to get my guitar and play a whole acoustic show. Hope that's okay."
Yeah, and she could have had cell phones light up the stage. Like, you just point, everybody turn on your light, and there you go.
That would have been incredible.
I've been lucky to see her in concert so many times, but the first time I ever saw her was in 2009, so I missed out on some of the early years when she played a lot more intimate shows, so I really hope that she goes back to that and I get to see an acoustic show of hers one day.
Yeah, that would be cool if she, instead of playing big shows, played a week at smaller venues in big cities like
Jackson, Mississippi.
Like Jackson. I will be totally surprised if we ever see her in Jackson. But something like the Beacon Theater, the size of the Beacon Theater in New York, or I'm sure there's some like great mid-level venues in Chicago or LA and places like that where you can fit maybe 1,000 or 2 people in there, but it's not going to be 10,000.
Well, one time at CMA Fest, the head of her record label, Scott Borchetta, was doing a Q&A, and I asked him, I said, do you think Taylor would ever play at Joe's Bar, which is a country bar here in Chicago that also has a huge like performance area that holds, several hundred people. And he said, I think if she ever did that, the building would explode.
Probably.
And I was like, yeah, you're probably right.
You know where it'd be great to see her? I'm sure she's played before, the Grand Ole Opry. Has she done that in Nashville? I'm sure she has,
Yeah.
right?
Not in a long time. I hope she goes back sometime. But even that, like if they announce her ahead of time, it'll just be a mob scene. It would have to be a surprise.
Yeah. Well, I guess she's not as big. Well, she was just getting off a kind of a big tour, but I was able to buy tickets to Carrie Underwood at the Grand Ole Opry like 2 or 3 days before, and they were just fine. I mean, there's not a bad seat in that venue, and you only when you go see the regular show, they only play like 3 or 4 songs. The headliner does anyway. Everybody else plays like 1 or 2,
Right.
But that would still be a cool way to see her.
I'm just thinking because I saw Keith Urban play there, and that was my first time at the Opry. And usually, I think if you're seated on the main floor, they let you walk up near the stage, like up to a certain point, so you can kind of get closer and take some pictures and stuff. I just don't feel like anything like that can ever safely happen when Taylor is playing. Because not that people don't love Keith Urban or Carrie Underwood, but Taylor fans are just such fanatics that I honestly don't think it's safe for her to play shows like that.
Yeah, and the Opry is such an old school place. I mean, there's still like the people that would be opening for would be like these 80-year-old country stars who are celebrating like
Right.
their 60th year as a member of the Opry, and they'd be like, "What in the world is going on? What is going on
Right,
here?"
exactly. No, that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah, like this girl is younger than my great granddaughters.
Oh, it's killing me that I can't think of his name. The singer that I saw, he was like about 90 years old. He's still alive. He's at the Opry.
Yeah.
He's really,
Well,
really
I'd hope
short.
so. That'd be weird if he wasn't. I'm just saying.
Wheeled him out.
No, he's really short. What's his name? I can't think of it. Does anybody know who
I don't
I'm
even
talking
know.
about?
Jimmy Dickens?
Yes, that's who it is.
Little Jimmy Dickens.
Yes. He was one of the openers for Keith Urban.
They brought him out Weekend at Bernie style. He was just,
shook him around.
yep, there you go.
But yeah, I mean, I really hope that that happens. But even if she does an acoustic album, I think she would still have to keep it to large venues just for the security aspect.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
Well, boo, you just ruined my other dream of her coming to Jackson.
Boo.
I'm killing all your dreams tonight. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, even Johnny Cash was like, I'm going to Jackson. So there you go. See?
He had a whole song about it.
Taylor, if you're listening, please go to Jackson and see our friends. Thank you.
Oh, that would be so awesome. That worked.
And marry me.
We have little messages
That's
to Taylor
optional,
on every
optional.
episode, just in case.
So they're just ruined the chances with me proposing to her on your podcast of Swiftcast.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for letting us be part of this. This has been a fun time. I mean, it's not every day Murphy and I get to sit here and talk for an hour about Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah. This has been a blast.
Oh, you sound so sincere right now.
Now you got a little bit of what we do every day.
Yeah, totally.
And this is really cool because it's like, who'd have thought that like Taylor Swift would bring like us together? Like I've never met Haley, I've never met Steph or Ashley, but now I'm like, hey, I could talk to them about Taylor Swift anytime.
Yeah, we've got a little partnership, a little podcast partnership.
Before you guys go, do you have any movie recommendations for our listeners?
I haven't seen, a lot of the stuff that's getting Oscar attention that's towards the end of the year. I haven't seen yet, like American Hustle or Wolf of Wall Street or anything like that. But for the Golden Globes, 12 Years a Slave is one of the ones that leads the way with nominations. They got 7 along with American Hustle. I think Carson enjoyed American Hustle. We just talked about that on our podcast episode that dropped this week.
But what's the top movie right now? Frozen?
Frozen, yeah, which I haven't seen.
I love
we
that
both like The Hobbit. Yeah, it looks incredible.
You like a lot of kid movies, apparently.
Yeah, I'm a mom. But that
Well, there you go.
But that movie, I go see a lot of kids' movies. This is the first one I would leave my daughter at home and go watch myself.
That's what I've heard. The parents love it too. It's got a lot of
See, and I want to go see it, but I feel like I would just be creepy going to a kids movie by myself and watching it.
You would. And I think 3 weeks is too young to bring our daughter, so we'll have to wait for a video or something like that. My favorite movie of last year, because I just went over my my top 11 movies on this recent podcast episode that came out. My favorite movie of last year was Prisoners, which is kind of scary. It's very intense, but it was just an incredible. I think it's getting totally snubbed by all the. I hope the Oscars don't make the mistake of say snubbing like Hugh Jackman or even giving this a Best Picture nod, because I've never had. It's been a long time since I've had an experience like that in the movies, and so I would recommend Prisoners, which is now out on DVD and on demand and all that good stuff.
Okay, that's good to know. I completely missed that movie. I don't even remember seeing any
intense.
previews.
It's got Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, Jake. Our good friend Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh, yeah. Whoops.
No, it's cool.
Would you mind if we do a little bit of a shout out to plug ourselves here?
Go ahead.
No, go for it.
Oh, well, you can always, we're on iTunes as you guys are as well. So to search for I Heard That Was Good, or you can go to IHeardThatWasGood.com and find all of our episodes there. And we're on Twitter at I Heard That Was GD.
There you go.
Follow them.
Yes, definitely follow them. And they promise that they'll get on Twitter more so they can actually respond to you.
That's right.
You guys are at 2,000, which you're complaining about. We're at 21 people.
Is that what did you just
no,
look it
I
up?
don't know.
Oh,
I'm just guessing.
I would have believed you. That's funny.
We have not even half of what you guys have, so there you go.
Well, you guys should definitely follow them. And this was really fun. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
We had a great time as well. We'll come back anytime. And we look forward to having you guys. Maybe we'll have to have one of you guys on again when The Giver comes out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Sweet.
That'd be awesome.
Well, I just can't wait for Steph's cat to come on our show. Is that what that was? Like before we started recording, you hear this.
Yeah, she wanted to be on.
I think it was Haley's cat.
That would be Lenny.
Oh, then Haley's full of like background noise then. So
Too. Yes.
Yes, I just have a dog that howls. I don't have a cute cat purring on my computer.
which was awesome. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, it was.
All right. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Swiftcast is no way affiliated with Taylor Swift, Big Machine Records, or 13 Management.